What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a new video from Point Reyes National Seashore here in California. This I'm so excited for because I've heard nothing but outstanding things about this park. I was actually originally going to include it in my Bay Area video. Go check that out if you haven't already, but it just really necessitates its own video because of how impressive it is.
Yeah, this is one of those places that could easily be a national park if it wanted to. This place is absolutely amazing, so I can't wait to go check it out.
In the last installation of our California coast road trip, we'll be showing you Point Reyes National Seashore, a popular tourist destination on the Pacific coast of Northern California, located approximately 30 miles northwest of San Francisco. Established in 1962, its 71,028 acres protect the Point Reyes Peninsula, which boasts some outstanding natural advantages. It's almost entirely separated from the continental United States by a rift zone of the San Andreas Fault, and the difference in soil composition as a result affects the mix of flora and is part of the reason this place is so unbelievably green. We arrived in the afternoon, a little after exploring the Bay Area's most spectacular natural landmarks. Go check out that video if you haven't already. And then we devoted another half day to the southern part of the park to see something truly unique, which I don't want to spoil yet. First up for us was the South Beach overlook, and getting there would prove to be real interesting as we got caught in a cow jam for a good 5 to 10 minutes. You'll quickly realize that the amount of animals roaming around Point Reyes is abundant. This super short trail takes you down to my personal favorite view in the park, overlooking Point Reyes Beach from 300 feet in the air. This was unlike anything I'd ever seen in the United States, and I know that might be surprising to some of you, but I want you to really think about what we're working with here. This is miles and miles of undeveloped, protected white sand beach that goes in a perfectly straight line, no twists and turns. I remember when I went to Iceland and saw their own version of this, except it was a black sand beach, and that was one of my single favorite views in that country. So it should come as no surprise that the South Beach overlook is easily one of my favorite views in California. It's simple, yet visually perfect to the eye. Since I first discovered this years ago, I've wanted nothing more than to visit it, and it 100% lived up to expectations. Just an unreal start to our time in Point Reyes. Then, sharing the same parking lot, you can make your way down to the Point Reyes Lighthouse on a 1.3 mile round trip hike. While that doesn't sound too bad, there is 308 feet of elevation gain consisting of constant stairs on the way back, and that is a grind regardless of your physique. But I will say, this is another location that is definitely worth your time, as you feel like you've reached the end of the earth by the time you finish navigating the steps. There's some really impressive cliff views due to the sheer size and steepness of them, and then in the other direction you can just make out Point Reyes Beach. The lighthouse is the highlight though, small but incredibly picturesque, and you're even able to walk inside of it. There's lots of history to read up on, so definitely take your time here. Oh, and I was a bit too late to capturing this on video for you guys, nor did I bring a good zoom in lens anyways, but we did spot some whales peer above the water as an added bonus. Really cool.
Man, it is so unbelievably cool that South Beach Overlook and the Point Reyes Lighthouse share the same area because they're two of the most amazing coastal spots I've probably ever been to.
Up next, the Chimney Rock Trail may as well be one of my new favorite short hikes ever. It's 1.8 miles round trip with just 160 feet of elevation gain, so not too hard at all. Straight from the parking lot, you'll spot some distant cliffs that genuinely look straight out of Ireland. Now admittedly, I've never been to Ireland, but I have seen lots of pictures, and that was the first thing I thought of. It's probably my single favorite thing about this hike are the different perspectives you can get of these, just the way they're smooth and never ending. I've never seen cliffs like this. Genuinely, how is this California, guys? The trail begins in these picturesque cypress trees before taking you across these fields that eventually end at Chimney Rock. There's this gorgeous beach you'll spot about halfway through that looks straight out of a movie, and there are no barriers. You can literally walk all around it. Just like the Ireland looking cliffs I talked about, this has that vibrant green up top before it transitions to that tan color as the walls near a vertical angle. I was already more than happy to have been on this hike, but that's without it continuing onto the small peninsula. Chimney Rock has these 360-degree panoramic views, but my favorite direction hands down looks at where you came from as the land splits the water in half. I don't think I've ever seen an overlook exactly like this before. My jaw was on the floor. On top of that, you get to look down into a few more coves. For example, we noticed this one that had some sea lions chilling on it. The walk back might have been even more beautiful than the hike out as you walk through this incredible meadow that has deer running all over it. The lighting was spectacular, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience on this phenomenal trail.
Point Reyes is just continuing to blow my mind. This Chimney Rock Trail is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, this trail blew my mind. That final viewpoint was so stunning, and then that one viewpoint, the split, and then the giant cliffs. Oh man, it was unbelievable. These two spots already in the park are just blowing my mind, and I can see how this deserves national park status at some point. I mean, one of the best spots in all of California.
Deviating 20 minutes inland through some beautiful terrain, we then checked out another highly popular spot in the park, the Cypress Tree Tunnel. This isn't even a hike. Like, you'll literally just park along the road and walk over to it, and when you get there, you'll be in awe like we were. If you're a photographer, this might be one of the coolest places you can visit in the entire country because of how satisfying it is. I'm a big fan of these cypress trees on an individual basis, like when we saw them in Point Lobos or in the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, I thought they were awesome. But lining a walkway like this and having them be perfectly symmetrical, like this doesn't even seem real, guys. So far, everything about Point Reyes had me convinced I was in some sort of fairy tale, and the cypress tree tunnel was no exception at all.
The cypress tree tunnel is absolutely one of the most iconic things in this park, and absolutely delivered too. Every single spot in this place is just awesome. I can't believe how underrated Point Reyes is.
Oh, this tree tunnel was so cool. The lighting, everything, man, we just timed it so perfectly. It was awesome.
And now we got one more spot for sunset, which is going to be the North Beach viewpoint.
To conclude our first day in the park, we decided we'd go watch sunset on Point Reyes Beach, the same beach we overlooked in the beginning of the video. There's not much of a difference if you want to park in the southern beach lot or northern beach lot, but we chose the latter as it was a little bit closer to the tree tunnel. Now, I won't lie, this was definitely the most ordinary thing we experienced in the park, but it was still really terrific, I thought. You can't fully appreciate how straight the beach is quite as much from the bottom as you can from high up, but it was still stunning and felt almost entirely untouched. You also had more of that green grass, bush, and flowers acting as a foreground in pictures and videos, and combined with the sunset, this was just an incredibly gorgeous scene.
Alright, that does it for day one at Point Reyes, and we'll see you for an absolutely incredible looking hike, Alamir Falls.
Yeah, today was absolutely amazing, so I can't wait to explore more tomorrow, so yeah, see you then.
It was time for another new day, this being one of my most anticipated of the trip because it contained one of my most anticipated new hikes of the trip. Alamir Falls can be accessed via the Palamaran Trailhead, which is tucked away in the southern corner of the park about an hour away from all the other stuff I've highlighted so far. Alright, let's get one thing straight. According to All Trails, a hike to Alamir Falls is 13.7 miles with 1,784 feet of elevation gain. That is ludicrous. This route has you head out up over the cliffs through the hilly terrain of the area, then many miles of uninteresting walking along Wildcat Beach. But what many do instead, dare I say the majority of hikers, is they take a shortcut. This is a spur trail located maybe a half a mile before you'd otherwise cross Alamir Creek, which feeds into the waterfall. It's pretty easy to miss on your journey out. We actually missed it ourselves, so when we reached the creek, that was our indication to turn back around, and after paying closer attention, we were able to find it pretty easily. The shortcut shaves off nearly 6 miles, which is much more approachable. Honestly, we didn't think this hike was as challenging as you might expect it to be considering how long it is, even with the shortcut. Plus, there's some really nice scenery along the way. Some beautiful forest, hills, coastline, everything I'd come to expect from the region. I also, contrary to popular belief, didn't think the shortcut was that bad either. Now, obviously, it's going to be tougher than the longer 14-mile route, which doesn't feature anything technical, but aside from a slightly treacherous scramble at the end, this was completely fine. People are definitely over-exaggerating about this. It's a surprisingly defined trail for not being maintained, though it is narrow and there is some poison oak present, but I don't recall ever coming into contact with it. Like, it's not that narrow. This will position you right on top of the waterfall, where you'll have to do a little bit of a cross, but in our opinion, it's pretty easy to remain dry if you take a leap across. There's some cool views of some smaller waterfalls and cascades right above the falls before the big reveal that you have made it, which I'm sorry, really does steal the show.
Dude, we made it to the top!
Oh, this is so cool.
Oh man, what an experience!
Alamir Falls is one of just 25 tide waterfalls in the world, 6 of which being in North America, which is a waterfall that pours directly into the ocean. The only other tide fall in California is Midway Falls over at Big Sur, which is much more famous, and while it is absolutely breathtaking, you aren't able to get to its base or even walk along the beach it spills onto. Alamir Falls, on the other hand, is very interactive, as you don't just get these awesome upper views, you can also enjoy it from the bottom.
Oh shit! Come on, man!
And I've seen lots of pictures of this over the years where the falls will kind of split into 2 streams of water, but I was so glad to visit during high flow when the full width of the falls were flowing down to the bottom. Alamir Falls flows off of a 40-foot cliff, which isn't all that huge or anything, but I think when you're faced with something this unique and fascinating, size is the last thing on your mind. One of the coolest things about this waterfall that separates it from Midway Falls is after landing onto the beach, the water snakes its way to the ocean in what is essentially a short continuation of the creek in the sand. I've really never seen anything like it, but honestly it elevates the spot to a whole nother level in my opinion. Probably my favorite angle I got of the falls were from the other side of the creek, meaning you will have to get a little wet to experience this, but it's this distant shot where you get the even higher cliffs in the backdrop, and Alamir is just such a remarkable compliment in all of its glory. I just can't believe this place exists, and that it's in the same park as all the other remarkable locations we already discussed. If one thing's for certain, Point Reyes National Seashore is a place I will never forget. Easily one of my new favorite parks in all of California.
I would like you to consider that Alamir Falls might just be one of the best waterfalls in the state of California.
Yeah, this is probably one of the best waterfalls I've ever seen, and one of the most unique. It's incredible. It's just this whole shoreline, waves, and then the wave feeds into the waves, and then the coastal bluffs. It's unbelievable. This is so cool.
And what an unbelievable conclusion to Point Reyes National Seashore. I can't believe how every single spot in this park was a slam dunk. So from the base of Alamir Falls, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.